Welcome to a session on The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. So, we'll be discussing a few themes from the novel. So, the first theme and the most important one in the novel would be sin and redemption itself. So, the novel deeply explores the Puritan view of sin, especially how characters grapple with their internal guilt, shame, and quest for redemption. So throughout the characters, be it Hester Prynne or be it Dimmesdale and all the other characters, you're seeing how you're seeing a journey of sin and redemption, and to a great extent, a one who realizes that there is a sin committed, that is Hester herself. She actually reaches a position towards the end where she is at peace with whatever happens in her life. But that's not the case with Dimsdale. It's quite different. So Hester's sin of adultery, which obviously leads to the daughter that she bore, um, Pearl. It is a central transgression in the novel. That is, it is a central event or the deviation that takes in the events. So she is supposed to wear. She is asked to wear the big A on her chest, and she is forced to be away from the mainstream, and she lives in the outskirts. And uh, her journey of redemption, as mentioned, is very slow. It's very gradual. So although she is shamed and she is excluded and she is attacked a lot physically and mentally, over time, she begins to become a symbol of strength and grace, and the adulteress A, becomes able. So she becomes, she learns to be a seamstress, and she starts to do charity works. And finally, adulteress becomes able, and there is a sort of a moral redemption that happens in the novel for this character. So she has, as I mentioned earlier, she has accepted her sin, and she has also grown stronger with it. So there is a personal growth that you see through sin and redemption in the character Hester. Coming to Arthur Dimmesdale's guilt and struggle for redemption. So it is quite, different from Hester. He was the father of the child, and Hester, she has to face public shame for a very long time, for, a very, very long time. And Dimmesdale has always suffered in private, is what we understand. And there are acts of penance that he does in secret, that is without others knowing. He does these fastings, the self flagellation, and there is a lot of self inflicted harm that happens to Dimsdale, and he refuses to confess in the public. And finally, when he actually confesses that he's made this mistake right before his death, that is where he gets redemption. He reveals his guilt and acknowledges and he has shared sin with Hester, and he finally dies. So that is the aspect of Arthur Dimmesdale's journey of sin and redemption. Now, coming to the topic individual versus society. So you see a lot of times when the individual, Hester, has to go through a lot of trouble. Okay, she actually goes now. Hester's punishment is meant to force her to conform to the Puritan community's strict moral code. So that is the main agenda out of all the punishment. That was why, back in the Puritan times, there were people who committed a mistake were actually punished to a great extent for them to adhere to the strict moral codes. And she defies the society by refusing to reveal the father's identity, that is Dimmesdale's identity. And over time, what happens? She becomes more independent. She lives in the outskirts along with the child, and she becomes more independent. And there is a personal strength that is growing within this character. Okay, so Dimmesdale's struggle between inner morality and societal expectation. There is a contrast between Dimmesdale's public persona as a pious minister and his private guilt, highlights the tension between individual morality and the expectations put by society. So here in Dimmesdale's case, you can see how there is a lot of individual morality that he holds. At the same time, he was not able to reveal, probably because the society was too rigid to accept the truth. So that is what we see in Dimmesdale's character. And the next point is hypocrisy. So, hypocrisy frequently highlights Hawthorne frequently highlights the hypocrisy of Puritan leaders, which is why you have the character of Dimmesdale himself. So there is a double standard that Hawthorne tries to talk about, and the townspeople treatment of Hester is often, quite hypocritical in nature. While they outwardly scorn her, they still rely on her for her skill as a seamstress. So there are many people who, there are even characters, important characters, the ministers themselves, who ask for certain things that she creates, like the gloves. So their willingness to use her service but simultaneously shun her underscores the societal hypocrisy. And then there is the aspect of isolation and alienation. Obviously, for Hester, it is isolation and alienation that she faces from her lover, also from the society itself. And she is physically and emotionally different and kept away from the society. And the Hester's cottage, located on the fringes of the community, symbolizes her separation from the moral and social order of the town. So she is actually geographically away from the whole society. And her position as an outsider gives her a unique perspective on the rigidity and hypocrisy of Puritan society. And when it comes to Dimmesdale, his hidden sin isolates him internally, as he cannot share his guilt with anyone, his emotional alienation. So within himself, he feels this, although he is with many people, he still feels an alienation because of the sin that he committed and because of the fact that he is not able to share it with anyone. So these are the few themes that you can look into in the very interesting and very meaningful novel by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Thank you.